Life360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live, also on Amazon Fire TV, and to Twitch. Also, Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. So let me just start by saying, Friday, Jim had me laughing because he said something on air that I was not expecting. And of course, I got to laughing so hard that if you've tuned into the show, hey, Jim, I snort. So he had me snorting pretty good. And so now, right before we go live, he takes himself backstage. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Oh, glad to be here, Donna. We're going to kick off this Monday, and we're going to get everything rocking and rolling. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to share some more of the 7 Levels of Truth by Mr. Bill Heinrich. And in just a few moments, I'm going to share with you the opening comments that he made in Chapter 4. Either myself or Donna will share that with you because it is just right down to the bottom of his gut.
Right. It's at bone level.
Yeah, you can actually go on that mental journey with him. And there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, I can relate to that.
Right.
But
it's
before
very
we get
raw
started,
and very real.
Yeah. Before I get started, and I'm not going to talk about any squirrels today, playing tying grab ass or anything, but we're going to talk about today's the National Day, holiday, April the 11th, education and sharing. That is a wonderful thing to do, to educate and share your knowledge with others and be able to acquire knowledge so you can share it. That's exciting. National Barbershop Quartet Day. I know I hadn't seen anyone like that perform in that group in a long time, or a group like that, I should say. Also, National Cheese Fondue Day. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Donna, this here is going to take some young kids. I mean, they're going to start frequency hopping like, what are you talking about? I don't know why, but today is National 8-Track Tape Day.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah, if you had an 8-track player, I mean, you were like downtown.
You were cool.
Yeah, I had one in my car. I mean, that was cool. You plug in the tape. Don't have to worry about no reception as far as the radio, no commercials. Oh.
Of course, it took up the entire passenger front seat to have them in the cases.
Oh, yeah. It sure did. Yeah, because those things are, goodness. I know they still have 8-track tape players, not for sale, but, available in antique stores or online or whatever. But,
right.
My goodness gracious, it was amazing. Get a boom box there, get your speakers wired and all. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. It really was.
It was.
National 8-Track Tape Day. Today's also the National Marketing Operations Day. And this is a time for people who work in marketing and operations and things like that, whether it's your team or whether it's you by yourself. Appreciate your efforts and what you do. My goodness gracious, because good marketing, that's where it's at. Right. Nothing begins without good marketing. If you're not talking to the right people, you're not going to make any type of progress or
Right.
be a blessing to them. It's got to be a win-win situation on both sides.
Absolutely.
You win, they win.
Right.
And also, Donna, oh, you're going to love this one here. Today is a National Submarine Day, but today is National Pet Day.
Wait, I can attest to that one. Hang on.
All right. There,
Glocky.
Glocky.
Yep.
Glocky and Bullet's pretty close for as far as looking up here on the TV screen from me.
Yeah, Bullet doesn't like to lay in laps. He'll lay on my feet at night when we go to bed, but he's not a
He's not a
cuddler.
lap boy.
Nope. The other one.
Niner, yeah, Niner. Oh, she's
a talker.
She's Russian. Yeah, she's a Russian blue, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a Russian blue.
Yeah, I tell you. But you think about National Pet Day, my goodness gracious. I mean, pets bring us so much comfort and all that, and so much love too. Goodness,
yeah.
I mean, it's Abby and I were talking just the other day about pets, and back in the 70s and 60s, growing up, and 50s, dogs were outside more.
Right.
They were outside animals, but now they've kind of like migrated into the house, and animals are very smart. Because especially dogs, you can work with them on trying to train them to do something. And, some are a little quicker to pick it up and than others. But then there's that one thing that you do that's special, and they go like, hey,
Right.
I like this. And they're immediately spoiled. You ever notice that?
I have 5 of those in my house.
She's got a Clouder and a Jake.
Yep. Oh, it gets, let's just say the fur flies at my house every now and then in the vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you, girl. I hear you. I wanted to start out the chapter 4 about our life lessons. And I just wanted to share with you Bill's words that he wrote, because he wrote this from the heart. And this is why we like to share this with you, this verbiage, direct, because we would just, I'd probably water it down and slaughter it and other things. But
Right.
listen to what he says. This is Bill writing in his words. When I reflect on my life, the one thing that had the most significant positive impact on my life was learning that we each have a life lesson. I never understood life. It did not make sense to me. I now know why it didn't make sense to me, and quite frankly, I thought there was something wrong with me, like I was crazy. The fact that life didn't make sense to me was not an open topic for discussion. I kept that to myself. I found ways to survive while this belief remained hidden deep inside me. I didn't believe I could explain myself to anyone and have them understand me. I was only focused on surviving in an environment where I did not fit in. It all seemed so foreign to me. I finally reached a point, after decades of misery, that I had to find out why I was so miserable. That's when my transformation journey began. And when I made a choice to find answers, I went all in. I spent the vast majority of my time focused solely on my transformation, and nothing else mattered. Ooh, man. I know there's people out there that could say, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
And I think we all do. We all do.
We do. And understand nobody's alone in that journey. Every walk of life, we all feel that at one time or another in our life.
We sure do. And the one sentence there, Donna, just stands paramount out, is where he said, I was so focused on surviving in an environment I did not fit in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We all know a bunch of people who are surviving in an environment that is toxic, it's harmful, destructive. There's nothing positive there.
Sometimes, Jim,
Mhm.
we're the only one in that environment.
Mm,
Think about that.
that's
We
true. I
make
hadn't thought about it.
ourselves toxic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like that joke of a husband and wife that went to the marriage counselor, and the marriage counselor said, "Well, I'm going to interview them one at a time." And so he brought in the wife and he said, "How's your day going?" She said, "Oh, fine." He said, "Let me ask you, did you wake up grumpy this morning?" She said, "No, I let him sleep. I was enjoying the peace and quiet." But see, sometimes, like Donna says, we build our own prison and we live in it.
Mhm.
And the question is, why do we do that?
Right.
Why? Is it because to some degree we dislike ourselves or hate ourselves? Is it because we don't know the difference? Or is it a combination of things? And I got all tangled up here in my cords. I apologize for that. But, you
I
know,
would say it can be any of them
yes, it can.
or all of them.
Yes, ma'am. Or a combination of them.
Yep.
Because it comes
Absolutely.
down to that inner game we talked about yesterday.
You mean
And the inner,
Friday?
yeah, the inner game is that's what helps you self justify your own prison sentence because you're enslaving yourself.
As people, as humans, we justify our behavior,
Yeah.
good or bad,
hmm
right? Just like a little kid.
hmm
Did you take that cookie that you weren't supposed to have till after dinner? Mm-mm. You didn't. Who did? Right? You're
yeah.
justifying it. Even at a
Yeah.
young age, we
hmm
justify a behavior that we know is maybe wrong.
mm
And unfortunately, sometimes we can't find our way in the right energetic path.
hmm
Then as we grow older, just like you read about Bill, we get caught up in a storm, right? Our
hmm
life is nothing but a storm, a
hmm
dark storm. And you don't fit in anywhere.
That's right. You're headed down a dead end street down the
Yep.
pathway of life.
Yeah.
And I like what Bill says when he says that when he finally reached the point out of decades of misery that he had to find out why he was so miserable.
Right.
I mean, in life, you have to reach the point to where you're, I think we said in the other show, a couple shows ago, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You got to be
Mhm.
fed up to here and say, that's it.
Right.
No one can change your life except YOU.
Hmm. Absolutely. And here's the other thing, it's really hard to do
Mm.
because it's not so hard in the changing,
hmm
but the only person that you have to be honest with is yourself.
hmm
And sometimes we don't want to admit that what we're doing is not in a good path in life.
Right,
That
right.
right that it's harmful to ourselves or it's
hmm
harmful to the ones that we love around
Yeah.
us. And that can be one of the hardest things to do,
hmm
to admit to yourself.
hmm
You don't have to admit it to anybody else, but you do have to be honest with yourself. And therein, Jim, lies the key. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have a choice. You can be honest with yourself and go through that kind of pain and that hurt so that you can grow and get out of being sick and tired, of being
hmm
sick and tired and
Right.
being miserable, and go into a life of peace and serenity and harmony and energetic happiness.
Mm. Oh yeah. When you were saying those words, I'm going like, yeah, that's, you're singing the song, you're strumming the chords of the soul. Yeah,
Right,
because that's exactly what we all want.
right.
We crave it. We need it. We know deep down inside, at least I think so. I think we know deep down inside we're entitled to it, but
Hmm.
we haven't convinced our mind that we're worthy of it.
Right,
That's the disconnect.
right.
And so many people live their life struggling with the big three inside.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah. And who am I?
Right.
Who do my family and friends think I am? And am I the person I should be? And when you're going in that vortex there and you're spinning around like that, because that's exactly how I felt when I came back from Vietnam. Because people were looking at me, my family, and of course my friends didn't. They knew I'd changed, but they didn't. They weren't like my family. My family's kind of like saying, "What's wrong with Jim?
Right.
What's wrong with him?" And I struggle with that.
Hmm.
And somebody asks you right now, not you, Donna, but you out there in TV land, what's wrong with you? Nothing,
Right.
right? But there's a lot wrong in our life, especially when someone asks you a question like that and it bothers you. That's a
Hmm.
signal. Here's a chance to improve.
Hmm.
I got so fired up. Then you see my energy come up. It just really turned my shirt color there kind of gray.
Here is a chance to make a choice for a leap of faith to change your life.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen.
Hmm.
Have the courage to do it, just like Bill did. He says, he went all in. I spent the
You have
vast
to.
majority of my time. And he talks, this is very interesting too. He shares that about 9 months after he began his spiritual journey, he's talking about his spiritual DNA, not religion, his spiritual journey. Uh, he got introduced to a book that changed his life. The book is called The Life You Were Born to Live, written by Dan Millman, Millman. The Life You Were Born to Live. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Are you now living the life that you were born to live? Am I living the life I was born to live? I'd like to think so.
Hmm.
And the way I'll tell you, there's a good check and balance. And Donna, you may add more to this and sound more intelligent than me, but to me, if I'm living the life that I'm supposed to live, then I'm being a blessing to others, and blessings come to us, and the energy that brings those blessings opens door for us.
It does.
That's what we are experiencing.
It does. And I'm going to take it one step farther.
Mhm.
It does all of that. But when you are living the life that you are born to live and destined to live, there is such a peace and such a harmony
Yeah.
in your life
Hmm.
that you will find that the things that used to bother you maybe a year ago,
Hmm.
maybe it was only a month ago,
Hmm.
you know what? It doesn't bother you anymore
Not at all.
because you are now in complete control. I am a firm believer that when we are not in proper harmony with our
Mhm.
energy,
Right.
that's when things bother us.
Hmm.
That's when we get mad.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
when, well, that didn't work, and you're in the kitchen and you throw the dish towel or you bang the pot or whatever it might be.
Hmm.
But when you are, and when you come to that place, I guess for me, and I don't, this is a euphemism, but it's almost like I'm gliding
Yeah.
because my existence is so peaceful
Hmm.
and so in tune and so harmonious. Even when outside things, something happens with family or what have you, um, comes in, it, I process it, I talk about it, but it doesn't bother me.
Mm. Hmm. And Donna, the way that I am by nature, I'm a happy kind of a person, and I find myself when I'm walking into a store or something like that, and I'm got a smile face. Good morning, how you doing today, sir? And they'll kind of like
Right.
look at you. They'll find it kind of takes them by surprise because that's not the normal.
Right.
The normal is people just walking, not talking, or you could. I mean, how many people you see? This is something that's interesting. Back in the 50s and 60s, I remember hearing guys walking down the street whistling.
Oh my gosh. Yes. My
Yeah,
father was one of them.
yeah, people whistling. And now you do it, and they kind of look at you like, "What's wrong with you?"
Right. You've
And
got 7 horns and
oh
3
yeah,
arms and 12 heads.
yeah, and it's almost a little bit of jealousy, like, "How dare you be happy?"
Hmm.
Well, how dare you be miserable?
Right.
Turn it around. And I walked into the at my cardio rehab. The ladies up there at the desk didn't know me, and I walked up, and of course the waiting room was packed with a bunch of people I'd never seen before. And I thought, this is brilliant. This is good. And I walked up there to them and he said, "Hi, how you doing today?" I said, "I'm fine." I said, "I'm here to see my psychiatrist again today." And when you make an announcement like that, you'll get some weird looks in the waiting room. I promise you. And it was packed. There was only one chair on the end next to a lady that was about 50 something. And so I walked over there and I sat down and I turned and looked at her and I says, "Hi, how you?" And she nervously looked at me at the corner of her eye and says, "Fine, thank you, sir." And one of my other buddies who was sitting over there, Mr. Raymond Ford, he takes cardio with me. We both had open heart surgery. He says, "Ma'am, don't pay any attention here. We're we're both cardiac patients here." And she says, "Oh, thank goodness." She says, "When I heard you were a here to see your psychiatrist, oh my goodness, there's only one chair for this man to sit in. It's going to be me."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I mean, I just enjoy myself like that. And you should too. I'm not saying you got to be the same, your humor's like mine, but enjoy yourself. Have a joy and a jubilee inside. I mean, if you sing in the shower, wonderful. Who cares if you sing off tune or something? It's just joy and jubilee. I
Dance.
mean,
If you feel
oh
like
yeah,
dancing, dance. Turn the music on
yeah.
and dance.
Yeah, when no one's looking, treat yourself. Go get that brownie. If you're on a diet or something, just say, "What up the brownie?" "I don't know." You're asking me, I'm on a diet. And then giggle at them. But really, I'm serious about this. You got to find ways to enjoy yourself on the inside. Let the joy and the jubilee just rise up and vibrate throughout you because everything in this on planet Earth is a vibration. We're a vibration. Everything in the universe is a vibration.
Oh, absolutely. And our energy, and we've talked about this before, but
Mhm.
our energy, if you've got great energy or you've got really bad negative energy, it's
Mhm.
very apparent and very transferable.
Oh yeah.
I always say your energy shows up through the door before you do.
Hmm. It's like being sick with a cold or flu or something. You're gonna, you just, just with you having it, it's going to rub off on others.
Right,
And
right.
the same is true with the positive energy. You can be
Hmm.
positive, and people say, "Yeah," because that vibe.
Right,
Because we're all understand how quickly and easily it is for us to, want to be around positive people and not be around negative people.
right.
Because you see someone walk into a room and they're kind of like, you go like, well, that's one. You say to yourself, "I'm just going to ignore that person," because
Yeah,
you don't want what he's selling.
right.
But on the other hand of the coin, if you see someone come in, they're very positive, smiling, got a pleasant face. Hey, let me have some of that
Right.
good
I'll
stuff
have
that you
second
got.
helpings.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Jim, Bill goes on in the book and he talks about sharing the resources, right?
Mhm.
And he says, Why? Because we are all living on earth and we have come here to learn lessons. Our focus must remain on the physical portion of life, flowing our energy into our lives in every moment possible. Our challenges and problems are not going to go away.
Hmm.
Life is about overcoming challenges, and how we handle each challenge will determine the level of peacefulness in our life.
That is,
That's powerful.
yeah. Bill has that unique way of just hitting the nail on the head with the
Right.
hammer 100% of the time.
It's
'Cause-
interesting because when I had my aneurysm, and I've said this on the show before, but when I was diagnosed with MS,
Mhm.
I also had another appointment right behind that to go see my neurosurgeon to schedule the first of my 3 brain surgeries. And I'm walking out of that office after about 10 minutes of, shock and tears. And then my daughter, who was, a teenage or in high school, my youngest daughter, was so upset. She literally crawled up in my lap like a little girl. And, I'm trying to console her. And I went and I scheduled my first brain surgery. And that was terrifying.
Sure it was. Sure it
I
was.
was so scared my first brain surgery because I didn't know what to expect.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, oh, there's going to be, 3 or 4 people in there. I mean, I'm strapped to a real narrow bed. They strap my head down. They strap my arms. They strap you across your chest, your stomach, your legs, and your feet.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, the tears were rolling.
Mhm.
And, and I was awake during my first and my third brain surgery. But I just didn't know what to expect. And I had all this stuff hitting me. And I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do at the time. I
Mm.
didn't. And you know what? I was depressed and I was in a funk. And it took me a good year of solid work to figure out what was wrong and why.
Mm.
And when I came through the other side, that's pretty much how high energy performance coaching came about.
Mhm.
Because at that moment, when I had that breakthrough, it was like a dark curtain was lifted off my head, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to myself, I will never, ever, ever play victim to anything again. Because when you play victim, it wins.
Oh, yeah. It sure does.
Now, I'm not saying I don't have bad days. I do. My MS kicks. My arthritis will take over and let me know who's boss in no uncertain terms.
Mhm.
But you know what? I do not let it defeat me. And I
Amen.
don't, I may have to rest an entire day, but that's healing.
Mhm.
That's not being a victim. That's healing. And so there's a balance in life, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
What he says is so powerful. The problem will never go away.
Mhm.
What I have for life, and it will never leave. But it's how you handle and overcome your problems that makes all the difference in how you live your life.
Mm. And Bill makes a very strong comment here. Remember earlier, he thought there was something wrong with him. He was broken. He thought, am I crazy? So on and so forth. And as I said earlier, 9 months into his journey, he found a book that he read, The Life You Were Born to Live, written by Dan Millman. That's Millman. And the book described the exact life I was living and all the struggles I faced. I was thrilled that there was nothing wrong with me and I wasn't crazy. Now, think about that. Think how happy and how thrilled you would be, some people out there in TV land, to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not crazy. That
Right.
was a huge breakthrough for Bill. Huge. And there's people out there, Donna, they need a huge breakthrough also, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we have one shot at this life.
Mhm.
So why do we want to live in a miserable existence, right? We're always going to have problems. Something's always going to happen. But it is how we handle the problem
Mhm.
and overcome it that defines our character.
Mhm. You're exactly right. It's your response
Yeah.
to how you handle that. That will determine how much in control of your life that you are. You want to be in control of your life. Everybody wants to be in control of their life. But the problem is we're trying to control the physical. You
Right.
can't any more than you can control the weather.
Hmm.
So you let all those things go and just don't let it bother you. Focus on loving yourself and raising yourself to the level of what we talked about in your divine gifts,
Hmm.
your higher level. Because all those divine gifts, the 7 divine gifts that you have, they're yours to keep. Every one of us have them, and
Right.
they're designed to be your, I call it your roadmap and your GPS for your pathway down life, the path of
Right.
life. It's the
Right.
best. That's how I see it, Donna. Right or wrong,
Absolutely.
that's how I see it.
The next portion he says in here, he
Okay.
says, the problems don't go away, but our
Mhm.
perceptions of the issues and challenges are going to change rapidly. Accessing our divine gifts allows us to overcome any obstacles and find a solution that is best for all involved.
Mm. Mm. Right there, he's focused on what's best for all.
Right.
He's not looking inward, he's looking outward. That's the first step. You got to quit looking inside. You know, the radio station that Bill talks about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting today from WIIFM on your dial. You know, what's in it for me?
Hmm.
I love it when Bill came up with that. That was absolutely perfect.
Brilliant.
I'm
It was
using it.
brilliant.
I'm gonna continue to use it. I'm not gonna steal it, but I'm just gonna borrow it and wear it
Right.
out.
We're going to borrow it a lot.
And wear it out a lot too. Yeah, we're gonna get our mileage out of it. You know,
Right.
but you know when it comes to the type of person that Bill Heinrich is, uh, he's just when you see him in person, his cold blue eyes, his azure blue eyes, and his smile and his pleasing personality, he is comfortable with
Hmm.
himself. Now
Now, I
this was
will say, when he's deep in thought,
oh yeah,
he looks like you don't want to approach him
yeah.
because he's so serious and deep. Right.
Hmm.
Right. And he has very piercing eyes.
Yes.
And, that's not the case at all. He's just, his brain is always going,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And it's interesting because, when you talk to him and he just lights up like,
Oh yeah.
right, almost like he's got lights on inside his eyes. They just
Mhm.
light up. It is amazing. And you can feel the energy
Hmm. You sure
just
can.
literally emanate out of him.
Hmm. Yeah. And Bill and I, we do the radio show together, and we're going to be picking it up on. We're going to be doing a year project on some of the people he knows who are psychic. I'm not talking about palm readers here, but I'm talking about people who have a different feeling about the universe and that sort of thing. And I'm just slaughtering that. But Bill, sometimes with him, I'll say something on the air, and all of a sudden he'll burst out with instant laughter.
Right.
And his laughter is contagious. Oh
It
my goodness,
is.
he's funny. He's funny. He's the kind of guy. He's a person that when you hear him laugh, you're gonna laugh too.
Right.
So it's kind of like Dawn over there when she starts snorting and carrying on.
Oh, next subject.
Okay. How to put up with your host on live TV when all he does is want to make you snort.
Right, right,
That's a
right.
challenge.
It is. But I love this part because this is true for all of us. It's
Okay.
all of this that we're talking about. But he's saying for the best of, that you'll find the solution that is best for all involved.
Mhm.
That is accomplished with any situation in life. Knowing our life lessons allow us to remain focused on specific areas that we know create our challenges. The key to personal change and transformation is awareness.
Mm. Is that Glock in the background that I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's Glock.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to recognize their voices a little bit. Actually, it's a lucky guess.
She's the one who's in here most with me.
Yeah, but it's very, very interesting how Bill talks about transformation, just transforming yourself. He's real big on that. He uses that word a lot, transformation.
But even the way he writes, Jim, when I
Mhm.
read that, I'm telling you, I instantly feel even at more peace.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
I mean, it just is amazing the way he writes.
yeah, it really is. And like you said, when you see him in his eyes and all that, when he smiles, his eyes just light up. You could tell deep down inside, it is well with his soul, as that old
Hmm.
song goes.
Right?
And he's at peace. He's at
Hmm.
peace with himself, and he's has a satisfied mind. Think about that. How would you like to feel like you're at peace with yourself on the inside, and you got a satisfied mind? How
Right.
important is that? Is it possible for you to reach that? The answer is yes.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things you got to give up. You got to be able to be willing to transform. And in Bill's book here, he covers a lot of things. Also, too, let me put up here The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. We've mentioned that many times. I want to mention it again. It's on YouTube. It's about 32 minutes long. And if you live in a country that doesn't allow YouTube to be played there, just go online and research it. Download the PDF. It's word for word. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And what's amazing, the same thing that Earl is saying, the same thing that Bill is saying, the same thing that Donna and I are sharing with you, it's all in the same boat. And you know when you hear it, it's what you crave deep down inside
Hmm.
because you know that's what you're missing. And that's why we're here. That's why this show exists. That's why we call it the Messages of Inspirational Stories,
Hmm.
because it's all about happiness, love, life, and living. Because let's be honest, we see enough of things, ugliness, meanness in this world getting vomited on society. I am sick and tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you who else is sick and tired of it too: the youth of this world.
Right?
Donna and I have seen that firsthand. We were on that summit with Sadia. They have the International Youth Summit, and I think they got about what 100,000 youths around the world, something like
Yeah, they
that.
do. It's a global.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Donna spoke on Sunday, and I spoke on Monday. And holy smokes, these young people were asking us questions like, Bill Heinrich speaks from grassroots reality.
Hmm.
These young people were asking us questions on that same level,
Right.
questions that we don't normally hear from American kids.
Right.
But these were questions like, tell me how. What's the combination here? They're hungry for truth.
It was a breath of fresh air.
Yes, ma'am.
It was
Yes, ma'am, it
truly a
was.
breath of fresh air because it was very evident to me when I spoke Sunday that they wanted more. They wanted to know how, because these are the things that they're suffering or
Mm,
deluged with,
yeah.
that is in their life, and they
Mhm.
want to um, transfer themselves to a higher place.
Yeah, because well, I'm sure it happened to you too, probably more so with you because you had more attendance there on Sunday than I did on Monday. But the comments in there, just shared,
Oh,
and they'd share it, just shared. I mean, it was just person after person after person sharing this message on their Facebook page for their family and friends. Just share, just share, just share,
right.
because the all of the value that we were bringing. And as a result, I mean, that just continues to open up other doors for us. It really
Mhm.
does. And
Absolutely does.
yeah, it's, I still do not know exactly. And this is something that I did in good faith and to try to help a good friend of ours, Marty Haggard, because after after he lost Mark Abbott, one of his band members, in I think it was early December to cancer, I waited until that was in 2020. And so I waited until, in 2021, let things settle. And I called his secretary I sent her a message, asked Jody if he would be interested in doing a pay-per-view event. And so it was a little while before they got back with me. And yes, he would. If he didn't know, he says, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, okay. And my point being that outreach that I could probably help him get on a pay-per-view event and earn some money and being able to share his music with
His
people.
passion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Donna. His passion that he is, because he's a down to earth guy. And this thing has grown from there. It's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. It
Mhm.
expanded on to us having the VFW on April the 23rd. I mean, this is what energy does. This is what, when you let go and free yourself and you say, I want to be me on the inside, the
Right.
energy is going to say, hey, this is your calling. It's
Right.
going to pull you in the right direction. And we feel it, don't we, Donna?
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There are days, no kidding, because of
Mhm.
everything that's going on and all the energy and the beautiful things that are happening,
Mhm.
that we will literally be on the phone 4 or 5 times a day and
Mhm.
at least 3 to 4 Zooms.
Mhm. Yeah. And Donna told me to cancel all vacations for the next 5 or 6 years. So,
Yeah, but I'm
okay.
going on vacation.
That's why she wanted me to cancel mine.
See, I'm smart.
Yeah. But it's really amazing because whenever you're in your right groove and you're doing the right things and you're focused on helping others, that's when the energy is going to say, come on, we're not leaving you behind. It's going to
Right.
pull you along. And you don't even, I can testify to this. Now, don't tell anybody I said this, but you don't even have to be super smart for that to happen. Our secret, okay? She's laughing at me again. What can I say?
Well, you know, I'm just, Mama said, don't be a smart aleck, Donna.
Yeah, she just says, it just touches her heart to how honest I am here on the TV show. But we like to blend in a little humor too, because, if you don't laugh at yourself, you're cheating yourself. You really are, because laughter is one of the greatest medicines you can have. It's good. I don't think they've ever figured out all the good things laughter does for the body.
Oh, but it does a lot.
Oh, yeah. And the fact of it is, you can afford it on any budget
Right?
in any quantity that you want. And Donna, when it comes to, you know, Bill was so impressed with that book, The Life You Were Born to Live. I mean, I'd like for people out there, there's going to be a few people out there I know it's going to sit down and think, the life I was born to live. I never thought about that when I was younger.
Right.
I really
Well,
didn't.
I didn't either because, honestly, we were 9 foot tall and bulletproof.
Mhm.
And the world, man, it was going to be ours like that.
Oh, yeah, we got the world in a hip pocket. Who cares?
Going to
Piece of
take it
cake.
by storm.
Yeah. In Las Vegas, watch out, because here we come.
Right.
That's before we found out the honeymoon was already over before we got there.
Oops.
Well,
Oops.
but yeah, it's, Bill's answer to life's biggest questions in this book, it really does move me and motivate me and excites me to know that we can be in control of our lives. We can change our lives.
Right.
And I see, is that Niner?
That's Niner.
Yeah, that Russian blue tail. But let's go on and share a little bit more information about Mr. Bill there.
Do you have it or do you want me to?
Go ahead. I want to get something to drink here.
Okay. Okay. So he says, knowing our life lessons allow us to remain focused on specific areas that we know create other challenges. Right. The key to the personal change and transformation is awareness. Now he says, understanding what is causing a problem allows us to make different choices. When we are applying the characteristics of a self actualization in our lives, we have the tools to make this adjustment to our life and eventually to our perceptions. So
That is something else. Go ahead.
well, think about it. I mean, what did he say? He said when we're aware, right? We have to remain focused. And when we are aware that we can change things, but we can make different choices. Choices is the key word. We can make a different choice. We don't have to make the choices we've always made.
That's a Niner approved statement there.
That is. That's Niner approved.
And when you see Bill in person and reading his words here, this is the way he talks in real life, everyday life. This same verbiage. Talking about transformation and all this, and goodness, that's why a 30-minute consultation with him,
it's
a free
invaluable.
consultation. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, just visit Bill is truelifepurposenow.com and just set up. So I'd like to have of course, he gives it away free to anybody and everybody.
Right.
A 30-minute complimentary consultation. And I'm telling you,
It'll be worth it.
I think I told the story earlier this week. In fact, I know I did. We were at Speaking Empire. Was it last week?
Last week.
Oh, okay. That's right. Today's Monday. What's wrong with me?
We don't have that much time, Jim.
You mean left or what?
No, to say what's wrong with you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm with you. But I walked into the dining area there, and Bill is sitting there drinking some coffee. So I go over and get a cup of coffee. I come down, just sit across from him, just to, say hello, and wasn't going to ask him any questions. And then he started talking to me about, asking me questions about stuff. And he led me into an area that I wasn't expecting him. And he led me into an area to let me know what my true calling was in life. He didn't tell me. His questions answered that question for me. Right. It opened that door. That was a beauty in it. And it just blew me away. I mean, how did he know how to do that? He just has that special gift.
He does. And he won't. Bill's not the kind of guy who will say, well, gee, Jim, I think
you should do this.
I think this is what you need to do. He won't do that. Mm-hmm. He has a way to read you that is uncanny. Mm-hmm. It is uncanny. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And he will, like you said, he will ask questions and maybe say, well, did you ever think of this? Yeah. What about this? He's quite something.
Yeah, he really is. He is fantastic in that area. So that's why we highly recommend for you to go to truelifepurposenow.com and schedule a 30-minute complimentary consultation with him. And I'm telling you, I give you my word, within 10 minutes, you're going to say, Holy enchiladas, Batman.
Right?
This was time well spent. And the same is true with Donna here. Just email her at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. She will give you a free complimentary 30-minute consultation. And she gets right down to the nitty gritty in her area too. It's a person, is it a place or a thing or a combination of all three? And right there is 1 hour of great, great training. And then, of course, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That's an hour and a half. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, I give you my word that that hour and a half, you'll walk away a brand new person, because Bill's going to give you something, Donna's going to give you something, and Earl Nightingale will give you something by his message.
Right.
So come with your basket empty and leave with it full. Mercy.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough, and thank you for the endorsement, but I cannot speak highly enough of this man right here.
Yes, ma'am.
Bill is absolutely super special.
He really is, Donna.
He is super special.
Mhm.
And what he writes, it's interesting because, I do energy work. Bill does energy work. We do it in different ways, but I've had him as a guest speaker at speaking events.
Oh, yeah. He's powerful, ain't he?
He's very powerful. But the amazing thing is I do it a little differently than he does, and vice versa.
Mhm.
But essentially, we're getting to that space,
Mhm.
right? So our harmonization, I guess is what I'm saying, is on the same path,
Oh, yeah.
right? Very much on the same path.
Mhm.
But he is the what and the how and the why that Bill can pull out of you that you don't know existed
Yeah.
is absolutely off the charts.
Mhm.
It is off the charts.
And the reason, again, that we wanted to share this book with you and share some of the words verbatim was that if you decide to get the 7 Levels of Truth on Amazon, that book right there, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Mhm.
And the words that we use there, because Donna and I, we decided, we realized that, a lot of people don't like to, see hosts up here reading, but see, it wasn't what we were going to do physically. It was the message we were going to
Right.
deliver. That was why it was so powerful. And that is why we chose to, and we will continue throughout this week here to share information from this book about Bill. And hopefully, if I can get his schedule ironed out, he'll be with us on Friday. And you'll get a chance to meet Mr. Bill Heinrich, listen to his words, and then, as we like to say, you be the judge.
Right. Jim, if I may, I'm looking at his book on Amazon
Uh-huh.
right now on my phone, and this
Okay.
is what it says. This book is for anyone seeking answers, solutions, and success in life. Our birthright is abundance, love, peace, and joy. The 7 levels of truth will lead you to your life purpose and allow you to apply these resources to your own life.
Nothing more needs to be said.
Right?
Nothing more needs to be said. My goodness. Well, you know what, Donna? We're out of time again.
I know we are, but we're going to come back tomorrow
Oh, yeah.
with more on this chapter because, you guys, there is so much that we want to share with you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it's just amazing how the information in there is it's just off the chart. It really is.
It is.
It really is.
And you know what? This is a great, and I'm just going to say it,
Okay.
I mean, Bill's our friend, obviously. We don't
We don't get anything from
no,
matching
we don't get
anything, no.
anything. We're friends.
Yeah.
Thank goodness gracious. I could call Bill right now and say, Bill, I need an hour.
Mhm.
Schedule me. And he'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
This book right here would make a fabulous gift for somebody who needs a little lift in their life.
Absolutely.
Make a fabulous
Absolutely.
gift.
Because his writing just pulls you into his journey.
Mhm.
He shares how this is what I was going through, and you're going like, wow, because I'll guarantee you, first time I read that book, I could say, wow,
That's me,
yeah. I mean, this guy's singing my song.
right?
And maybe not in the current situation, but definitely I was part of the same journey because, we've all struggled in life. Nobody's
Mhm.
immune to that. But the
Absolutely.
winners never quit. And you are definitely a winner. Don't let
Absolutely.
don't let anybody tell you any different. If they do, love them and let them go. Release them. Do not value their information. Do not value their stock. Because if they're negative, all negative stock is what? Worthless.
Right.
All it does is rob you of health, happiness, and love and the abundance that you're entitled to.
I kind of get a little more serious about that. I call it toxic waste.
Toxic waste. Boy. Hey, can you imagine you walk up to somebody and say, whew, man, you're that toxic. You're so toxic.
You are
Get you a
toxic
toxic
waste.
waste out of here. Yeah. You're a toxic waste in my life. Well, thank you very much. I love you too.
Well,
Oh, goodness.
we are out of time, Jim. We have
Yeah.
to go.
Mhm. And yeah, you're right. And tomorrow, I'd like to play an old fashioned game, two truths and one lie, just to liven up something.
Okay, we'll be
All right.
ready.
All right. We'll be ready too. You bring the popcorn and I'll bring the jokes. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow. And like I said, on Friday, we're going to try to get Mr. Bill here to be with us to be able to share the information we shared this week on chapter 4 and just listen to him talk. And we're just going to turn the mic over to him and just say, carry on,
Right.
because his information is that valuable. And we sincerely want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for making our show more and more popular. We really appreciate that. And Donna and I hope and pray that we will always provide you with good infotainment that's of value to you and your family. And we also hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye, folks. Have a good evening.